Hey guys, because my deck videos are not really friendly to complete beginners who don't have access to every card, and Gwent is also now on Steam, I decided to make another account where I play Gwent from scratch, so beginners can follow along. The plan is to show how to start building collection efficiently, especially which cards to pick and craft first. Now I made a poll on my YouTube channel with which faction to start, and the most people chose monsters. So that's the faction I'm gonna focus on first. Also, I think the monsters might be the easiest to start with because the starting deck is really strong and there are not so many combos as in other factions. Now, I will not be going into the detail of basics on how to play Gwent, but I might make a separate video with that if requested. I might also make a few top 5 videos on cards to craft. Now I'm planning to keep uploading those videos as often as I can, as long as the people are interested in them, and up to the point where you can basically get almost any card. It might be a long and grindy journey though. Okay, so let's start. Firstly, I'm gonna spend the reward points. I have already completed the tutorial, that's why I have a few of the ore and reward points. I haven't played anything else though. I think I will spend it firstly in Squatel, since I think it's the best tree for starting in. There is a video I've seen of King Blacktooth explaining which trees are the best, so you might wanna check him out. Now firstly, the best thing is you want those story nodes, all of them in the tree, since firstly you get 250 ore, then second one you get 300, and then 350, and then the fourth one you get 500. So you want to go for all of those to get the most out of those ores. So we're gonna first, I guess, spend 1 point on this. Since I don't have enough reward points, I will be waiting a bit to get that one. But let's open the few kegs first. Oh. Okay. Okay, you get 9 reward points from the start, so you want to spend them. Firstly, you want to get those. As many as you can. Now don't worry about the meteorite powder yet, since this is only for premium cards and you usually want to just expand the collection first and then get the premium when you already have access to all the cards. So I think I'm gonna go like that, and then come to this one, and then that. And then you complete the tree, then move on to the next one. You get a lot of those reward points by just spending reward points, so that might also be a good idea. But yeah, now we don't have enough, I think, for the next one. Yeah, we don't. Okay, so firstly you want to convert the ore into the kegs. Now, I'm not sure yet which kegs I'm gonna go for. Since we're playing monsters, it might be the best to go for monsters. Or you might go for Merchants of Ophir to get Mata maybe. Or any of those good cards, or Iron Judgment. I don't think Novigrad Keg is a good idea, since you get mostly Syndicate cards, I think. Okay, I'm gonna first go into the card collection to look for the best cards to first go for. Now of course monsters might be the one we're gonna want to expand. So if we're looking for monster cards, I think we should look for the... I think it's 9 provision card? Or 10 provision, it's either one. Yeah, 10 provision. So first monster card that has basically almost no drawback, especially in the start, should be again. This is one of the easiest cards to play actually. And you might want to get Mata from neutrals, since this might be really strong. Royal Decree is also good. And also the Karate Heat Wave could be good start. Firstly, I think you should focus on the neutrals and the faction you're expanding. The exception is, of course, if you get really good cards for Squatel, which I will be explaining which are later. So let's first spend some more. I think I'm gonna buy a few monster packs, at least for the start, since we're expanding monster collection. I'm not gonna be spending all of the ores only on monster packs though. Now let's open them. Oh, okay. Oh, so we were a bit lucky here. Now of course, Nitral might be a really good card. I don't really recommend picking Werecat here, since it's a good card, don't get me wrong, it's just... Well, the monster deck has a lot of Death Wish options. Of course, I think Wyvern is a good card here. You might pick a Necker Warrior. I don't recommend using Cockatrice though, because it's a bad card even in Beast deck. And Noonwraith, at least I don't think you would be choosing this card unless you're going for only 6 value, which might be good for the start. Now of course from here, so here is the fact. This is a premium card and these are a bit rarer to get, so you might want to first pick those cards since it's harder to get them or to craft them later on if you're planning to plan for the all premium cards or something like that. You might go for this card, but for the start I wouldn't really focus on those premiums, even though it might be a good choice to pick them. Now I will not be focusing on the fact that this card is premium, but now I don't think I'm gonna be choosing Werecat. Nitral might be a good option though. I think since we're playing a lot of dominance cards, this wouldn't be a bad choice. But also Endrega Queen is a 7-point value which usually won't get removed. And it also triggers a few dominance, and I know the monsters have a lot of dominance cards. At least in the starting deck it has a few of them. So you might want to pick this card, and also it's a premium. I mean, Nitral can be removed since Azul's Thunder also exists. So you might not choose Nitral at the start. And also this is a premium, so it might be easier to keep expanding the collection, so I'm gonna pick this card. Of course, you could pick Nitral there. Of course, another premium, but I think Barghest might be the best choice here, since Lizard can be removed without triggering his ability, and you don't really have so many consume cards to start with, so Slizard might not be the best option. Also, Endrega Warrior it's a good card, of course, but I think Barghest is just a better consume card here. Especially for the monster deck we have. Of course, we get another Barghest, which could be a good choice for the start. And also Hideous Feast is also really good. And of course we got a few also Kikimora Workers and Dragax, I guess. We have a few Death Wish cards. We could go for a Death Wish to start with. So I might choose another Barghest, although that's a bad choice if we get another one. But I think I'm gonna go for it just because. Barghest is, I think, one of the better monsters cards. Oh, this is also a almost no-brainer. Crones usually need 3 of them, and that's for the starting player, that's not a good investment. Gale requires you to have bleeding, and the beast just goes well with the dominance, so it's an obvious choice. We got the Droner, so that's a good choice. Droner could be good card to fill the deck, Rodfint could be good card. I don't think I'm gonna be using Arcane since there are almost no bleeding effects yet. But we got another bleeder. That's interesting. Because Hideous Feast is a good 6-point card, which can remove some engines, at least those 3-point ones. Slizards I wouldn't go for, at least not in the start, when you don't have all-in Death Wish deck or something like that. Or at least until you don't have Ruane. This is the card basically requires Ruane. Necrot, I think you might choose Necrot since it's a very good card, very good engine. You could put it in any deck, even if it's not bleeding deck. Now we still have 450 ore, so I'm gonna do another one. Now base set Cax, I'm not sure if I would like to go for it, but I might go for a few Merchant of Ophir Cax, since I know there are some good cards in those packs. Or base set Cax. Because we want a few neutral cards, that's the thing. We might want a few of them. We might want a few of neutral cards. Starting neutral cards like Royal Decree. In base set Cax there is basically the neutral cards from the open beta Gwent and a few other cards from this one. So I think, well, Viper Witcher, yeah, we're gonna be getting a few Nilfgaard cards in those kegs also, and a few Squatel because it's a starting thingy. But I think I'm gonna... Here we have a choice, so it's a Great Sword. And I know the Skellige has ships, and you might not go for Great Sword since he's an engine and you don't really have a lot of removal in Skellige, I mean damage effects that don't remove, that just damage. Those two cards work well together, but you can choose both. So I think you should maybe go for a Weather first. Also, their Land Soldier is not a bad card if you're going. But this is a neutral card, so you can use it in any deck. Now, it might not be optimal that I went for those kegs, since I forgot that it's not only neutral cards that you get, but any card, basically. Colossal Ifrit could be a good card to just put in and not worry about anything. It's a, I think, weaker Lacerate on a body. It's fine. Which opponent has to also remove if they don't want to keep damaging. But this is a really good card for Squatel. I wouldn't go for the Spies though, even though I didn't really check the decks. That was maybe my mistakes, I'm not really sure. Yeah, I'm gonna be choosing Ifrit since it's a neutral. Now see, this is another premium one. Of course, we have a Lacerate. This is basically, in my opinion, almost as good as Lacerate, just for one provision less. You have to wait one turn, that's all. This is really good card for engine in Nilfgaard, you can put it in any deck. As for those cards, I wouldn't go for a Viper Witcher at all. Since we're doing monsters, we might as well go for the Ancient Foglet. Okay, so we still have a few ores, so I might spend them. Now of course, I might not be choosing those decks optimally, since I maybe would have to go for all the monsters to expand the monsters collection first and then go for it. But I kinda want a few golds which are like Royal Decree and those. That's why I chose base set few, but sadly I didn't get it. Merchants of Fear I think is mostly to get Mata and to get the poison guy, which is also good. Yeah, I think Merchants of Fear is also a really good choice, even though it's not really a starting player deck. It has some good cards. Okay, so Passiflora, if you go for Syndicate, that's really good. Aristocrats for Nilfgaard, this might start a poison deck, especially with those two combos, which is still a broken deck. Still haven't fixed that deck, so you might want to go for this deck. So we got a few good cards here. And also, we might also go for Nilfgaard at the same time, since I saw a few good cards we got for Nilfgaard, so yeah. But mostly I think you would want to choose all the monsters for the start. But now we got a few more reward points. Because we opened the tank axe, we got reward points, we still have 3 reward points. So we might as well spend some of them. Of course we won't be getting... yeah. We won't be getting this one, so we might wait until we get 2 points. That's the first thing you want to do. But yeah, now we're at the stage where we can just go into the deck building. Keep creating monster decks. Now I'm gonna check all the decks. Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to go for a spy just from the start. It's not that great in Nilfgaard at all. So that was a good thing that I didn't choose that card. You also don't... Skellige could be a good greatsword to just put in. Greatsword is not a terrible idea to start with. That card wasn't bad at all, but I think whether because it's a neutral, you can put it in any deck. Northern Realms has some good cards, especially with boosts. Northern Realms already has a few engines that you need for a boost deck. I think Northern Realms is also not a bad faction to start with. Scoia'tael. Yeah. Scoia'tael also have... Scoia'tael is mostly like monsters. They don't really have a lot of combos, at least in the starting deck. They're good overall, so it's not... the starting decks are not bad at all. As opposed to the starting decks when I started in closed beta. They weren't that great. So firstly, you see here we have 22 provisions left. And we already have 25 cards. Usually don't want to have more than that. You always need at least 13 units. Because you can't play the deck otherwise. But we have some provisions we can afford to spend. Now the easiest might be to just go for the... ownership, yeah. Just to go for the owned card, so you have an easier choice of choosing them. We want to put in the Beast. Morntart is not a great card, even if you have some provisions left, since you have to base the deck around that card. Colossal Ifrit is just a free put in, we can do those cards. Now, at this point, we have to remove some cards. Now, first thing I would remove is Archespore. Archespores are not that great at all. The second thing I would remove in the monsters deck would maybe be either Thunderbolt. No, it's Wild Hunt Navigators, definitely. The Neckers can get some value, and most of the people don't really have removal, at least from the start. At later points you don't want to play Knackers since they're easy to get removed. But you could just put in something like Drowners. Wild Hunt Hounds are good. For example, Ciliano Harpies are way worse than Barghest, since Barghest is a consume and another consume, which Harpy is only a consume. So you might just switch those cards. Now, of course, we still have a lot of provisions to go through, but I think it's impossible, at least at the start, to go through all the provisions. But I'm thinking about just putting into Wild Hunt Hound. Maybe Harpy X are good starting cards. Ghouls are still good with Ice Giants. I wouldn't swap those yet. Well, yeah, I think we might want to put Knackers out for the Wild Hunt Hound, since they might get a lot more value. That should be okay for the deck. I will start playing. Now that I think about it, Wyvern is also a good card to have. Azul's Thunder is also... I'm not sure. I think I'm gonna keep this deck for now. You lose basically nothing by keeping it. And we play a few classic games since we can't go into the seasonal, can't go into the arena. Which, I have to say, arena might be even better choice of getting your collection up, since you get a lot of rewards from it. But yeah. I've been explaining for some time, so I might put some timestamps to for people who want to skip all those talking, but I think it was important to tell you a bit about cards which to choose. Now firstly, of course, we're playing against monsters, of course. Now, Wild Hunt Rider is a good choice to remove. Of course, one thing that you might check is the leaders. I forgot to check the leaders. I have to do that next time. I think there might be one better leader than this, at least for the dominance deck. But I might be wrong though. I think at this stage we just keep Lacerate. Azul's Thunder is good. Maybe he plays a bit. Okay, so he's playing a Harpy Egg, and as we know, the monsters decks really rely on those Harpy Eggs, at least from the start, since they don't have any other consumes. I might have to put a bit more consumes in the deck though. But for the start, I think we just log that, since I doubt he has option to unlock it, unless he got like Mahaka Mail or something like that. Okay, so he's taking a few... Yes, so he's playing a complete starting deck. It seems he hasn't swapped yet. Since those cards, I would recommend first swapping them out, since they're not that good. Of course you might keep them for a Death Wish effect, but it's not that strong. And you have way enough provisions to just... We're gonna be playing Wild Hunt Riders, so we got another achievement. Play a bronze in the multiplayer, okay. So... Now we probably should just play Harpiak here, since I want to trigger it with Abaya and then consume it with Barghest. Also get a lot of points. Also, what you may want to do, at least in the start, it's actually pretty possible to do with monsters since they're much stronger than other factions, is if the opponent starts first, you may try to overpower him, so you may get card advantage with equal cards, and card advantage with equal cards can be really important, especially in second round. You can push him without losing any card. And with losing card, you basically lose both Last Say, which Last Say can be really important with cards like Geralt. For example, if I first, he doesn't have any cards, and I play Lost, he can maybe keep his strongest card for the Lost card, and then because he has to act before me, I can keep Geralt and then remove his strongest card, while if I don't really have a Last Say, I have to play my Geralt first. And well, this was an example, but yeah, you know what I mean. So yeah. So now we're already in the advantage. We might want to keep this advantage if we can. If you can, don't be afraid to just pass the round. But yeah, starting first and second is still important. A bit less than in older Gwent, but it still is. Some decks may want to go first, since they may need some bonus points to win the round, or they just don't... they're maybe proactive like monsters in this example, but some decks usually want to go second. So yeah, now we consume Harpiaks. The Harpiaks can be really strong. They're like easy 8-point play. And for a bronze card with 5 provisions, that's not bad at all. Especially at this stage when you don't have as many cards to counter big units, big buffed units and everything like that. You do have Geralt, but... I mean, that was a mistake on his part. You don't want to go buff everything on one unit. Usually want to spread it out. Because the cards like Geralt exists, and you get it from the start. And that's not a good use of Ozral as well, because you know the monsters start with cards like Ice Giant, Old Spear Tip Asleep, all of those cards. But I will use Geralt now to just win the round. We're both on the 4 cards, and 4 cards it's sometimes a sweet spot to end on the equal amount of cards with 4 cards, since you can only have 10 cards in hand, and basically you get, how do I say this, you get 3 cards next turn and another 3 cards, so you end up with 10 cards if you just pass the second round without playing any card. If you have more than that, you're usually wasting those cards. You do get bonus mulligans, but it's not that great. But yeah, winning on equal amount is really good if you start second, since you can push the opponent in the second round. Maybe he's 1 card down after that. So see here, I have an option to pass and he's gonna be 2 cards down. That usually means lost game, since you lose on maybe a card like 9 points here, and he still has to play 9 points, so he needs to play 2 cards. Or I could play on and win an equal amount of cards, which is also really good, since you can force good cards out of the opponent without risking to go cards down, and also maybe disrupt his whole strategy by forcing him to play round 2. So we might want to keep playing, even though this might be an optimal situation for us to pass, since he usually needs to... I doubt he has enough to just take it in 1 card without using his leader. But I will play on, since I prefer to win on equal amount, as opposed to with 2 cards down. I mean with opponent winning on 2 cards down. Of course, now he has to still play 8 points, but I can afford to maybe play Lacerate, since monsters are not swarming the board that much, and 6 points it's 6 points. I mean, no problem here. We can still afford to play Old Spear Tip asleep. Yeah, so now he's basically using his leader while I still have mine for the finisher, so that's a good option. That's why don't put everything on 1 unit.
Last words.
And that was a mistake. He should have probably passed, since it's better for him to keep Geralt. He's gonna lose this round anyway. I can afford to play Old Spear Tip now and then consume him with Ozrael. Also, he has his Old Spear Tip, so I don't even need to play him to get Ozrael target. So yeah. And I doubt his final card is strong enough to even take that part, yeah. Now he's passing. So now we're basically in the best possible scenario. We won an equal amount of cards and he has his leader down. So if we lose this one, then it's basically almost impossible to lose this one. Now of course I'm mulliganed Azul's Thunder because it's not that great in this matchup, since there are not many engines, at least in opponent's deck. We might want to mulligan Colossal Ifrit, since opponent is not swarming and it's gonna be a short round. Yeah. Okay, we got a fine card, I guess. It's a 7-point card with a consume trigger. Now the thing is, now we can push him, but I doubt we benefit anything from pushing. We might give him a round, but I think we can also 2-0 him easily, because we have better cards. But I'm just gonna pass, maybe give him 1 point because I don't lose anything, and maybe help him to easier complete the challenges to get more reward points. So might as well give him 1 crown. But I think we won anyway, since we are in a so much better position here. He used his Ozrael, which is monster's finisher card. You always want to play this card last, almost always. We didn't really use that much more powerful cards, since when you pass, opponent has to play 1 card. And that's really important, since they're basically 1 card down, so that means 1 card's power down. That means, for example, 5 less points in this round. And also I have 2 times Last Say, because he has to play first because he won the round. Every time you win the round you have to play first. And so I basically have the double last say, so I can keep 2 of my strongest cards for the finisher, not only one. But I think this is pretty much the best we're gonna get from this deck. Yeah, pretty much. Ghouls are not that great if we don't have Ice Giants in graveyard. And Harpy Egg could be fine. So at this point, I think we should start with the Beast. It's an easy value generation card with no disadvantage. You might make a case for buffing it, since there is a card that removes 6 points from a card in monsters specifically. Parasite, I think it's called. So you maybe should use Carapace on the Beast, at least one charge of it. And the opponent probably doesn't have another removal. Yeah, so see here. You may want to use it here. The problem with Barghest is there always needs to be a stronger card than him on the field. Or else he just doesn't get any value. I'm gonna play Alpha Werewolf to just set up the drives. Now the problem with Wild Hunt Hound is I can't really play him before I play Ozrael or Ice Giant. Or maybe consume something to get higher points. But I think it's fine. The Beast is really strong. Yeah, so now he's buffing 1 unit, and I don't think... I actually think we have to consume now. Now we're gonna consume Old Spear Tip Asleep to match him on points, so if you're equal amount or your card is higher, then Dominance effect triggers, and that's for the Wild Hunt Hound. Now I'm not playing Colossal Ifrit since he doesn't have a lot of cards, and Colossal Ifrit might actually not be that great of a card to even play. At least not in the start, until the opponent starts swarming with decks like Araka's Consume or something like that. I mean Insectoid decks, not really Consume. But yeah, for the start we're just doing that. So we're waiting for him to play something. He probably just lost. I would maybe just forfeit at this stage. Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Now of course I could be friendly and just pass because he seems like he's desperate. But I'm actually not sure yet if we can win. Although we probably can. Yeah. That card is fine, I think, but it's best to be combined with the Glusty Warp card. So at this stage I think I'm just gonna consume Ozrael to get 2 points out of this card. Since it's never a bad choice to just do that. And also Barghest still gets a few boosts. But we just destroyed him at this point. That's why I said we could just 2-0 him, 2-round win without him winning any round. But I just did that probably to just... yeah, I'm not gonna be playing all in. Finish 3 online matches. We already played 3? Oh yeah, 2 online matches were in the tutorial, I think. Oh, so at this point you get a lot. And I mean a lot of... no? Oh yeah, there is the so-called journey. And you basically, by completing those challenges, damage units 20 times, you usually just complete them without really caring much about them. But it's nice because they give you reward points. Usually by completing one challenge you get a reward point. Boost units with vitality 15 times. Finish 3 matches in any online mode. I mean, those are pretty easy to get. Boost unit 20 times. And then you have a few weeks. You usually get challenges for all the previous weeks when you weren't playing. So it's pretty nice, you just complete them simultaneously. Hard to say. Play 15 cards with Death Blow. Yeah, so those are the quick challenges. But you usually want to go, every time you have 5 or more, you just want to go, spend it in the tree. Just grab those cards. Don't really mind about... Actually, those chests are also not a bad choice to just grab. But they're usually for the meteorite powder. 160 scraps is not that great. You just grab this one. Then we basically grab the final one to get 500 ore, and that's gonna be a lot. Now we basically go for the cax again. Now yeah, since we're building a monsters collections, it's sometimes really hard to choose which cac to buy. Because I know Merchants of Ophir have Mata and one guy that can poison stuff and those. Iron Judgment I think has also a lot of pretty powerful cards. I might go on the internet and search which cards are in which deck, and I might put it in the description if I find it. But yeah, base set cags are never a bad choice. Usually just want to get those gold cards, those good gold cards. Which I think it's a pretty good choice if you get one good gold card. And you always want to just claim those rewards, since you lose nothing by just doing that. Okay, so now we open base set kegs a bit. We're usually just hoping, for example, here it shows you that you have 2 copies of this card, and you can only have 2 copies of the card in the deck. So if I choose this card, it's gonna mill it, so I'm not gonna get any points out of it. And it's gonna be bad. Now, Wyvern Scale Shield is a neutral card, but a very bad neutral card. It's not great at all. I'm just gonna say it. It's a bad card. It was a bit too powerful before when you had unlimited charges, or you had 4 charges because it was basically 4 removal. But that limit 1 charge per turn, since they buffed a lot of cards since then, I think I would remove just this, then this card would maybe be useful. But for now, even though it's a neutral card, I'm not going to pick it, since it's a bad card. So yeah, I might be opening those decks too quickly for you. I mean, usually those bronze cards with 4 provisions are not really that interesting up until you start building the deck. So I just I'm gonna touch on them when I build the deck. Not even gonna check which cards I get. But maybe Siren is not a bad choice. But the cards with 4 provisions, at least for the start, you're not looking to put them in the deck since you have a lot of provisions to spare anyway. Since we're building a monsters deck, I think I'm gonna choose Griffin. Griffin is a good card. If you consume 1 strength unit is a 7 point for 5 provisions, and Ghoul can also consume it, so it's a nice card to have. Yeah, I might put in the description which cards are in which deck, or I might make a separate video with that. I'm not sure yet. If I find it, that is. The problem is, I'm not sure if I can find that. I'm gonna check it out. Now, we might want to go for the neutral card, since it's a rain, and Skellige decks with great swords can really benefit from rain. We might go for Skellige Greatsword deck after we complete with monsters. So here's the thing. You never want to choose Witchers unless you have 3 of them. Zoria Runestone is too random. Witchers are 6 points for 888 provisions. They're just not that great. They might not be that bad in the starting deck since you have a lot of provisions to spare, but for later they're just terrible. But the problem is you have to get all 3 of them to be even useful, so for the start you usually don't want to go with these cards. So you might want to go with Darren. So yeah, the video is already getting pretty long. So I'm gonna play one more match and then I might end the video here. I might make the next video very soon. At least if the people are interested. If no one would be watching, then I might not be continuing the series. But if people are watching, then I'm happy to just keep doing those videos. Hope the videos also help those who are starting out. I hope I'm doing well with explanations. This is basically my first tutorial, so I might not be as great at it as some others would, maybe. So this time we draw 2 ghouls. But since the ghouls are only good if you have cards in the graveyard and we don't have any consumes left, you usually just want to mulligan them. So yeah. Firstly, we're gonna just play Wild Hunt Hound. It's just gonna get boosted since it's the highest unit on board, and that's what Dominance does. It triggers when you have the highest unit on board. When any unit on your side of the field is the highest on the whole field. So at this point it might be tempting to just lacerate them, since they're gonna get a lot of value, and I don't think monsters have many good cards to lacerate. But I'm gonna play first those Wild Hunt Riders since they thin the deck. With Dominance they summon the copy from the deck, so those are the cards you always want to have in the deck. At least one of them in the deck and one in hand. You don't want to have 2 of them in hand. Also, one thing you might want to be careful is cards with row effects. Like Colossal Ifrit is one of them, which damages on the opposite row, so you have to be careful where you play it. Now that I think about it, I may have made a small mistake. I could have played Colossal Ifrit to just remove them. And now that's pretty much gonna be impossible to do. Oh well. Yeah, now it is what it is. Yeah, I made a mistake, I know. Should have played Colossal Ifrit. This might be the time it would get a lot of value to just remove those knackers. And it triggers every 3 turns, so you don't lose anything by playing it. It's just the problem of... If he plays... Okay. What is... Yeah. Now that's the fact. I have the highest unit, so the dominance doesn't trigger because he doesn't have the highest. But now at this point I'm just gonna go all in. He might want to pass. Trigger his ability. I usually never use leader abilities that are when they're not really that useful, I mean. Of course, you want to use them at some point in the game, but for example, this gives shield. Usually just put this on to protect the card, but outside of protection, you just keep it for when you need it. I don't use them when I don't need them. That's what I wanted to say. But at this point, we get some value out of Lacerate. It's an 8 points for 6 provisions, so that's always a good choice. It might drop him out of the round. Yeah, he has to pass. Now, because we started first, we're 1 card down. So at this point, it might be a bit risky to just go, for example, second round, push him. You could pass, but I don't think we want to pass here. We have a few decent cards, so it's not bad. I might mulligan as... Oh, that's a good card. I might keep this hand. I really hope I'm doing a good job with explaining stuff. Okay, so... Yeah, we have 8 cards in hand, but I think having 8 cards in hand, you'll just draw 2 more cards, not really 3, and that's where you're just losing a card, so you might as well play 1 card to try to see if the opponent... If you can get something out of the opponent that's worth more than your card. And if he plays a weak unit, you might decide to play on to force something good out of him. Since some people, because passing second turn has been so often used for a long time. Now that's one thing I don't understand, why he didn't use Ice Giant. I mean consume Ice Giant. He could have just consumed Ice Giant. It's an 8-point card, I can't even kill it with Garrote, so I don't know why he did that. But that mistake will cost him the game, I think. Since at this point, I'm not afraid to just keep playing, since I'm not falling behind on points. And that's the thing you wanna watch out if you have a lower number of cards than opponent. Pushing second turn might lose you a card if the opponent overcomes your points with his. And that might be pretty costly since the opponent will have last say then and can do some stuff. Of course, this might not be as important for beginners as it is for later, but it's good to keep in mind, I think. Now I think I'm just gonna push him. Since he used his Ozral, I'm not even afraid to play Old Spear Tip. To get more boosts out of the beast, of course. He already used his Garrote. I doubt he got, at least at the start, it's very rare if the opponent would get something like another Garrote Igni or something along those lines. Or maybe Scorch or some card that has really high provisions, I mean. But yeah, I hope my tutorial, if I can call it that, can be really useful. I'm not sure why opponents are hitting it. I think it has to do with they just play and drop. They don't really go and check the arrow on which row it goes. Maybe. I'm guessing. But at this stage, I've played Harpiag because I can play Abaya. Otherwise, I wouldn't play that card. To get at least some value out of it. We basically got 12 points. Yeah, so he's done at this point. I don't know, the fact that I got Barghest might got me really lucky. Like, Barghest is one of the stronger cards. Also that I've been playing Gwent way longer than other of those people. But, yeah, this might be a problem for all those people. Of course, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna try to get as much cards as I can still in this video. I'm not sure why is it highlighting. Oh, it's kind of a tutorial-ish thingy. But I'm not really interested in those. Since you don't want to spend your points on just or just that, it doesn't get you as much as if it would if you go for those story nodes. You might want to get or if it's alongside this, like if I have to go up to the story node, I have to get this, and this, or this and this. But outside of that, I wouldn't go for those. I would mostly go for maybe not even chests. I wouldn't even recommend going for chests. Just those story nodes. Just keep going for those story nodes. When you finish with the story nodes, just go to another tree and just get them. I think King Blacktooth made a video where which trees are the best to go for first. Like, you still have more those trees. I also wouldn't recommend going for the yearly reward. I mean, yearly is fine. I think I mixed it up with something. Monthly, I think, is the yeah, I wouldn't recommend doing those. I wouldn't recommend going for those trees. Because those trophies require you to complete in order to get the reward, which is just another title, which is toxic. You have to complete 5 matches in any game, which is not that much. That's one of the least required trophies. This one though, no, this one is fine. Win 15, for example. Win 15 rounds in seasonal matches. You won't be playing as much in seasonal at the start since you sometimes need good cards to work in seasonal. You might not want to play in seasonal, so you won't even unlock this one even if you spend 3 points to get that trophy style. And then you get damage units 20 times. I mean, it's gonna take some time since you're gonna get it. Complete 3 daily quests. This is also, I think, it's harder. I'm not going to say it's dumb idea to go for it if you want to get the cosmetic reward at the end, which is Colgrim Avatar, but I just don't recommend doing it when you're a beginner. You do it later, of course, sure, but not when you're a beginner. you just need those reward points for other stuff, so I wouldn't recommend going for those. Mostly I would recommend to just go for those trees, faction trees first, and just go all those nodes. But yeah, I'm gonna go into the deck building, maybe fix some stuff, and then I'm gonna end the video. Since most of the people don't play, they really don't play any engines, at least not yet. You may put Azul's Thunder later in the deck when people start playing engines like Wild Hunt Hound. But at this point they're just not playing it, and something like Wyvern is a way better choice. Also Droner. Droner can be really good counter against cards, for example, that have to be played on only one row. For example, Montart. It only works if it's played on melee row. So if you use Droner, you can move it and its effect is gonna never trigger, even if you don't manage to kill it. Its effect is never gonna trigger unless opponent moves it back with a card. So that's why Drowners can be a really good choice to do. But yeah. Yeah, maybe I think for the start, that's a good deck from the cards I've gotten. You could maybe go for Siren, but the thing is, we still have a few provisions to spare. So, you just don't go for the weaker cards. They are good when you need 4 provision cards, though. For example, this, when you need 5 provision cards, this card might be good. Also those, actually now that I think about it, Death Wish cards might be better. Since I have 2 Barghests which can consume a lot, we might put something like that in the deck. Yeah, and Drowner is not gonna be that useful, at least not many players are playing it. So I might do Bridge Troll and Trotfiend here, because we have cards. Now, I think I'm gonna have to do a video for the which cards to craft first, because it might be more important than I initially thought. But I'm just gonna show you very quickly the card you want to craft. That card you want to choose above any card else, because it's so good. Just a moment to find it. Here, it's Mata. If neither player has passed and your opponent's hand is not full, they draw the lowest cost card and you draw the highest cost card. So I don't think I need to explain why this card is good. You get the best card from your deck while the opponent gets the weakest card from his deck. And you still, usually the provisions, for 9 provisions, usually want 9 or about 9 or 10 point card for 9 provisions, and this is already 6 points, so you're basically risking 3 points to get the best card while opponent gets the worst card. For example, playing Mata might get me Old Spear Tip or Colossal Ifrit or Geralt of Rivia. So those are all good choices. So I hope this video helped. If you, of course, I will be making more of those videos as long as people want to see them. And so I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.